This video is about composing speech rhythms for the underground music topic we are working on in Year 7. By now, you will probably have performed the speech piece called Zooch in class and completed the sheet that asks you to choose tube stations and sort them into a table depending on how many syllables they have. Our next task is to think about creating our own speech rhythm pieces and, importantly, to be able to notate or write them down accurately. Let's start with a bit of revision about bars and bar lines. This is one of the rhythms you might have clapped during a music lesson. You can see that there are lines like this one dividing up the music, and a special double bar line at the end, which means it's the end of the music. Without bar lines, music is a lot more complicated to read and it's much easier to get lost. You will also notice that there are some numbers at the start of the music called the time signature. Here there are 2 4s. This means that there are 4 beats in each bar. It doesn't mean there have to be 4 notes, but that the total number of beats in each bar has to add up to 4. It will also help to revise the different types of notes and their values. You will know that this type of note has 1 beat, is called a crotchet, and that we say do when we are vocalising it. The rest for a crotchet, which we might clap when we are vocalising or doodaying, looks like this and is also worth 1 beat. Here is a minim, which is worth 2 beats, for which we say do. There is also an even longer note called a semibreve, which is 4 beats long, and so we say do. Quavers are worth half a beat each and are often grouped together like this, with 2 quavers making up 1 whole beat. When they are in pairs like this, we say do-day, but if there is 1 quaver on its own, worth half a beat, we would say either do or day, depending on whether it's the first or the second half of the beat. This might sound a bit complicated, so don't worry if it doesn't quite make sense yet. The other half of the beat might be made up with a quaver rest, which looks like this. 3 quavers can also be fitted into 1 beat, and this is called triplet. We say doppity, making sure each syllable is the same length. Have a look at this rhythm and see if you can do-day it accurately. Pause the video here if you want more time to look at it. I'll tap a pulse and count you in. The second time I'll give you the answer. You have a go first. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now here's the answer. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do, doppity, do-day, do, doppity, do-day, day, do. Did you get it right? Let's move on now to composing our own speech rhythms, using some of the stations from the London Underground. To start with, we can add new words to a rhythm made up by someone else. Here is the first line of Zooch. As you know, when we perform it, this line goes Zooch, Donny bristle, thack, thwaite, blick, cling. Now here it is without the words underneath. We're going to try and fit in some new stations of our own using this rhythm. So we have a do to start with. Ideally, we want a station that has just 1 syllable, so I'm going to use bank. This has given me an idea. I'm going to use only the stations on the central line for my piece. After the first note, there's a rest, and then we have the rhythm do-day, do-day, do, 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 do. So, what station should we use here? I like that pattern of 4 quavers. It will be good to have one with 4 syllables. I can see Liverpool Street, which I know has 4. But I'm thinking about that rhythm because it needs to go do-day, do-day. Liverpool Street. If I put it in here, it would be Liverpool Street, which doesn't sound very natural. Let's look for a different one. Ah, look, here's Oxford Circus. That has two words of two syllables each, and if you say them, Oxford Circus, which just fits. I like that. Let's put it in. Remember that we need to write one syllable under each note, and if any words have been split up, like both words have here, we show that they are part of one word by using a hyphen. Next, we have four crotchets. So do, 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 do. I don't think I'm going to find four more stations with just one syllable, so perhaps I should look for two with two syllables each. Let's go for Queensway and Stratford. Once we've written these in, like this, our whole line goes bank, Oxford Circus, Queensway, Stratford. I quite like that. In a moment, you're going to have a go at writing your own first line. Start by copying the first line of Zooch without the words. You can use a single tube line like I have if you want to, or just choose stations from your syllable sheet. If you're confident with writing rhythms already, you don't have to copy the first line, and you can go straight into writing your own. Just make sure you definitely have 4 beats in each bar. Pause the video now. Once you're happy with your first line, let's move on to the second. Here is the second line of Zooch, but this time we're not only going to write our own words, but our own rhythms as well. So the first job is to choose my first station. I like the sound of Chancery Lane, so let's use that. Next, I need to work out what the most natural rhythm for this name is, so I'm going to turn it into a do-day type rhythm in my head. It helps to say it out loud a few times. Chancery Lane, Chancery Lane, Chancery Lane, da 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 da. I think it's doppity-do. Don't forget the little 3 to show there are 3 quavers in that first beat. And here are the words underneath. I quite like that rhythm, so let's see if there are other stations I can do the same with. I found 2 more that I think will work. Liverpool Street and Lancaster Gate. Just to check, I'm going to say those out loud. Liverpool Street, Lancaster Gate. Yes, I'm happy they both fit in a doppity-do rhythm, so let's put them in. I've got 2 beats left to fill at the end. I could add Bury Park, which also fits with doppity-do, but I think that rhythm is getting a bit repetitive, so let's have something different at the end of the line. What shall I choose? Let's go for Chigwell. That has 2 syllables, so it could be either do or do-day, couldn't it? Which is right, Chigwell or Chigwell? The second one is definitely better, so let's go with that. And I still need 1 more beat, so I think I'm going to put a rest at the end of the line. This gives some variety and also means there is space to take a breath, which is a good idea. Now have a go at writing your second line. You don't have to use the same rhythms as I have. You can if you want to, as long as you make sure your words fit, or you can be adventurous and use station names that fit with different rhythms. Again, check that you have exactly 4 beats in each bar. Pause the video and do this now. It's always a good idea to keep checking back over your work, saying the rhythms out loud and making sure you're happy with them and they sound natural. If they don't, it's fine to change them. Let's have a look at our whole piece so far. Saying it out loud, it goes bank, Oxford Circus, Queensway, Stratford, Chancery Lane, Liverpool Street, Lancaster Gate, Chigwell. I quite like that. Now, the piece isn't finished, and I think I will be looking to add 2 more lines to complete it, but I'm not going to do those in this video. I'll leave it to you to complete your piece. But here are a few ideas or tips to help you on your way. It can be good to use alliteration. This is where a group of words all start with the same letter. Now, I was using only stations on the central line, and there aren't many stations that I can do this with, but if we jump back to using the whole tube map, I can spot, for example, several stations that start with M: Marylebone, Marble Arch, Mansion House, and Moorgate. If I said that in a rhythm, Marylebone, Marble Arch, Mansion House, and Moorgate, you can see it gives quite a nice effect. There are other things you can use in the same way. Another good technique can be a bit of repetition. I noticed on my central line map that there are several stations that end in Acton: North Acton, East Acton, and West Acton. I could use these one after the other to show this off. You might try this, for example, with stations that end in street, road, or park, to give just a few examples from the whole tube map. Finally, it's always great to finish with a flourish. You might remember that the end of Zooch gets exciting and builds up to a finish, with rhythms that fit more and more syllables into each line. Kibblesworth and Bannock, Burn and Grattan, Daffy, Dale and Custoke, Kernborough, Banningham, Sellerhead, Bedlinog. This helps give the music a sense of driving forward and building up. Notice that the composer has used the word and in between stations here to help with this too. The build-up ends with a bit of a bang on Birch, followed by 2 rests where we catch our breath, before landing back on Zooch to end the piece. You might want to consider doing something similar to end your own composition. So there are some ideas. Now it's over to you. See if you can finish your composition and bring it to your next lesson, or submit it online if this is what you've been asked for. You can use this video as much as you need to, and take your time to make sure you're happy with your work and that it sounds good. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.